I fell to my knees. And as I knelt there in shock with my mouth wide open in disbelief, I said, I don't think anyone realizes how truly wild 2023 really was. Did I just hear you mutter under your breath that you didn't think this year was that crazy? Well, how about this? In the first hour alone of 2023, the US confirmed 9 shootings. 9 in 1 hour. In January alone, we saw massive floods in California that lasted weeks and killed over 17 people. Remember those pension reform strikes that lasted months and were intense as hell? Yeah, they started in January too. The cartel went to bloody war with the police in Mexico after they tried to arrest El Chapo's son, and Italy's most wanted man, the former mafia boss, who has been on the run for the last 30 years, was finally arrested. 'Twas the season of Andrew Tate in jail and his detention constantly being extended by 30 days. Oh, and this one was a personal favorite of mine. A kid was playing hide and seek in Bangladesh with his friends, hid in this shipping container, fell asleep, and then woke up in Malaysia. But hey, I mean, at least the month rounded out with The Last of Us finally dropping. So, I guess that's good. Shit went wild in February again when the US blew up the sneaky Chinese spy balloon. I mean, I'm still in disbelief till today that this actually happened. And the fact that China still maintains that no, that was just a weather balloon chilling. No spying going on here. Okay, shut the hell up. Stop being so excited because 50,000 people died in Turkey and Syria in the earthquakes. New Zealand announced a national emergency for only the 3rd time in their history. And to top the month of February off, we had the train derailment in Palestine, Ohio. And I mean, we all remember how absolutely insane that shit was. March was a pretty scary month for me, I'm not gonna lie, because that was the month when we had the absurdly wild TikTok Congress hearing, and I had my entire career flash before my eyes because they were threatening to ban TikTok, and I genuinely thought this time it was gonna happen. And then we realized, given the footage that was released of the hearing, the people that are in Congress, well, okay, let me just summarize it by playing this question for you.
Mr. Chu, does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network?
Only if the user turns on the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I may not understand the...
So if I have a TikTok app on my phone and my phone is on my home Wi-Fi network, does TikTok access that network?
You will have to access the network to get connections to the internet, if that's the question.
But hey, we're now close to a year away from that, and we're still here. TikTok has not been banned, so W. Also in March, GPT-4 released and stunned the world with how the hell AI is progressing so fast. And I think AI projects in general got people pretty shook this year. Uganda made being gay illegal, and if you were caught being gay, how wild that is to say, you could be sentenced to life in prison. It was also a W year for killer whales, because not only did 2 of them kill 17 sharks in under 24 hours, but orcas as a species started ramming and also sinking human boats. We went to war with orcas this year. What the fuck? Oh, and also in March, we got this thing, which I remember at the time was kind of a symbol for how the year was kicking off. If you don't know what it is, it's a bulletproof whiteboard that was starting to be trialed in schools. I mean, the idea is throughout the day, it's just a giant wall that you can write on and learn fun things. And then if shit goes down, you can pull it out and it becomes a little fortress and has a door that can only be opened from the inside. Wild. Let's move on. In April, for the first time in history, a US president was indicted. And then just a couple of months later, the question that we were all asking was answered. Is Donald Trump's mugshot gonna be released to the public? Yes, it was. And it probably was one of the most surreal pictures that was released that year. This year, we're still this year. At this point, the France riots were still ongoing and were just getting more and more intense. And this was the month that they built a wall with cement and everything across a road. And then to cap the month off, the man who fathered 550 children around the world was finally ordered by a court to stop donating his sperm. In May, King Charles was crowned. Netflix officially rose their prices, and looking back at it, we really screwed us over because every other platform since then, including Amazon, has now risen their prices. So thanks, Netflix, you pieces of shit. And then a bizarre but interesting one was, this was the year where thousands of people flocked to see this miracle nun that for some reason was exhumed and then she didn't really decompose. So, yeah. people wanted to see that and thought it was a miracle, maybe touch and be like, I can live forever. Cut. Moving on. Let's go. Moving on. Now, as we made it halfway through the year, Apple, with a nice kind of fun one, released their Vision Pros. And that was a really fun one for me to make because after all of the disasters and the crazy shit, it was just a nice neutral one to talk about. Massive Canadian wildfires kicked off, and then all of the smoke kind of moseyed on down to New York City and made it look like a bloody apocalypse. One of the world's most deadly train crashes in history happened in India. I think something like 300 people died. Wild. These double-decker airline seats from hell went viral and thank God have not been yet implemented into any airlines. A Nigerian chef broke the world record cooking for a staggering 96 hours non-stop. And then how could we forget this happened? And I mean, honestly, out of everything that has happened this year, and a lot has happened this year, I've never seen the internet react to something in the same way that they reacted to the submarine that went missing. I mean, for perspective, I made about 6 videos on TikTok about the whole 96 hours of their air running up and oh my God, everyone was going crazy. And just those 6 videos did something insane, like 100 million views. And then just to make it crazier, we found out that after, days of us all being like, holy shit, and then all of this money was put into searching for them, they imploded in the first 2 hours and were gone that entire time. Mark my words, the situation was so insane, a documentary or movie will be made about it and it will break records. Let's move on. In July, we mourned the death of Twitter as it changed its name to X. Threads launched, geez, I forgot about that, and people honestly used it for about a day. I mean, honestly, I forget it exists pretty much every single day. I forgot as I was creating this video. We had the Jaws kid looking for friends in July. Let's just play a video of it wow, it was a great moment.
I just wanted to see if you knew any kids around 11 or 12 maybe, because I need some friends, really bad.
And then kind of going back into this sadder direction, 2023 was the hottest year we've had on record, with Europe being blasted by that massive heat wave and the Greece wildfires. Fuck. We also had the first ever alien hearing. Shit, this year's been wild. Oh. And then just to top it off, the alien hearing wasn't crazy enough for that month, we had the NPC challenge. Let's just throw our minds back to that.
Oh, take it, baby. This is so cute. Yes, yes, yes. Go crazy, go crazy. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yes, yes, yes.
Now, I am proud to report that despite me loving a good old TikTok trend and people making ridiculous amounts of money doing this, I never succumbed to the pressure. I never did the NPC challenge. Amazing. Let's move on. In August, we saw Kai Cenat starting a riot. We saw Tory Lanez getting sentenced to 10 years in prison. Japan began the release of the treated radioactive water into the sea. We're yet to see any results of that, if any will come of it. This is creepy as hell. Tens of thousands of dead fish have mysteriously washed up on a beach in northern Japan. And tragically, we also did see the devastating wildfires that ripped through Hawaii. I mean, hottest year on record. However, on the brighter side, we also saw India make history by landing on the moon. The first ever known giraffe without any spots was born. Lil Tay died and came back to life. And the world lost its mind with this drama. I mean, is it a man in a suit or is it a bear in its skin? The answer turned out to be China not lying, and it was a real bear, but it was just a freaking strange one, a sun bear. September was the month that the iPhone 15 released, and remember this shit, everyone's phones were cracking and people were losing their minds. The hot chip challenge, if you remember that one, killed a high school student. The XL Bully got banned in the UK. And of course, going to Mexico, this. Now moving on to October, this is when the Israel-Gaza war began. A worldwide travel warning was put in place for US citizens. The world's oldest dog died. Matthew Perry died. Adam Johnson died. Jeez, after being involved in one of the most horrific sports injuries ever. It was pretty bleh. Oh, and the first concert was played in the Las Vegas Sphere. Now, I mean, honestly, after watching that, it's up there in my bucket list of things that I've got to experience before I die. But then again, before I die, there'll be much better things. So sooner before I die, in the next 2 years. In November, we were introduced to good old young, truly humble under God and realized the entire time he wasn't committing crimes and doing all of these heinous things he was accused of. He was just pushing positivity. We got the whole industry misunderstood. Thanks, young, truly humble under God. You're to credit. OG Fortnite returned, Omegle was permanently shut down, and we saw what an earthquake looks like underwater. Oh, and also, I hit 10 million followers that month. Now, not only I'll be the first news account on TikTok to achieve this, but also, and just think about it, by doing this, we have now made TikTok the only major social media where the most followed news account is a creator. That's in the history books now, and it can never be taken away. Good month for me. And then, geez, finally, we are at December. The GTA 6 trailer dropped, broke the internet. Riz was named Word of the Year. Taylor Swift was named Time Magazine's Person of the Year. The Cybertruck was released. I'm gonna buy one of those, mark my words. And the Iceland volcano finally erupted. Woo! I mean, just realize, you watching lived through all of that. Unless you're watching this in heaven, then you didn't. We lost one of the good ones. Probably cut that out.
Destroy it!
And much more that I didn't even mention, because this is just the top bits. And to everyone that's here from TikTok and lived through all of this with me in real time, woo, we made it. And no doubt the topics that I cover in 2024 will be just as weird and wonderful as this one. And I'll be doing them here on YouTube too. I wish you all the absolute best, and I'll see you in 2024.